So gluten affects something called a zonulin protein. So gluten is here. One of the things about gluten is that it breaks down into gliadin, which is another protein. The gliadin then comes and interacts with a receptor on a cell surface. In other words, there is an identifying protein that binds to it. And when it does that, a lot of chemical machinery gets activated and makes zonulin. So what zonulin does is that the lining of our cells is tightly bound together. In other words, there is no gaps in between them, and that is the tight junctions in here. Zonulin comes in and it works on these tight junctions and loosens them. So if you see here, zonulin is working and a gap is created. And when the gap is created, what happens is that all these foreign protein bacteria migrate into the lining of our gut, and they create an inflammatory response. They create a response in which we say, this is war. And war affects not just the person who is being acted on, but it also affects the person who is creating the war. It affects both. So a process like this is not just capable of defending us, but it's also capable of harming us. So if you activate the zonulin through gluten, a group of us can get celiac disease, diabetes, inflammatory bowel disease, heart disease, and other chronic conditions that are not related to infection. You would say a plant is defenseless, right? How many of you guys think that a plant is completely defenseless? It doesn't have any claws, it cannot run away. But plants are not defenseless. They have chemical warfare. They create certain anti-nutrients that make the predators respect them. And one of them is called lectins. They're found in red kidney beans. A group of young kids in England consumed these red kidney beans that were uncooked. And when they were uncooked, they have a lot of these lectins that go and bind to a protein on the lining of the gut. And this binding rapidly creates abdominal pain, diarrhea, vomiting, dehydration. Some of them ate as less as 4 kidney beans. They had to be hospitalized. So one way to show what happens is that this lectin can bind, and here is the red blood cell, can bind to the protein on the red blood cell and cause agglutination. It clumps them together. So that's one of the mechanisms as to what it is doing to the gut lining. It's also studies show that rats fed lectins for as little as 2 weeks, 0.5% of their diet died in 2 weeks. This is from Dr. Mercola. I promised you I'll give you balance. So in other words, I'm not saying, hey, don't eat plants. But here is from his side saying that lectins are present in all of these nightshades and different types of foods, tomatoes included, peppers included. So you would go out here and you'd be scared of going to the shop. You would not want to eat anything.
Absolutely not.